Go.
Who's first? You can take that one.
Well, the whole development team, groups up and, we started exchanging ideas of where we could go. And early on in this process, came about, hey, we could do Pandaria because they've been part of the lore for so long, since Warcraft 3. And then it caught on within the dev team, oh yeah, this, it's pretty unanimous, and this would be a great decision to go with doing Pandaria. And that's how it evolved. And going from there, we started concepting, and everybody was really getting into it. And usually that's a good sign when everybody's fired up for it. So that's where it came from.
Yeah. The key to it is getting the team's backing behind the idea, right? Because without the whole development team being on board with it, it wouldn't fly. But people got really excited about the idea of having the pandas, and as they started talking about the kit behind it, what does the world look like? What do the zones look like? Hey, let's add a class. What would that class look like? Just starting to talk about that, building that excitement, that's what made it happen, right? Because if it didn't have the excitement behind it, we wouldn't have done it.
I would say awesome. That's one word.
One word to describe it? One word to describe Mists of Pandaria?
Yes, oh yeah.
I would say flexible, right? And I say that because with Mists, we've done a lot to try to accommodate both the hardcore and the casual player as well, right? Yeah. So, we wanted to offer people a wide variety of different things to do, right? Like pet battle system is an example of something that's very casual and fun to play. Yeah. That people take advantage of all their stuff, all of their pets, and do something with them. Yeah. But at the same time, we still have the 10 man, 25 men, raids for the hardcore. So it's both. So we're being very flexible with this one. I think a lot of it is, whenever we do an expansion, it's trying to figure out, what is going to make the cut. Because everybody has a lot of very good ideas design-wise and things that they want to implement or that they want to see. And the decision is basically paring that down to what is going to actually make the game and what can we work on and polish, right? So there's a lot of ideas that get thrown out at the beginning for really cool things that you want to do, but as you explore them, you're like, yeah, it'd be cool, but it just doesn't fit the theme of this expansion, or this idea is actually better. Let's run with that, right? So I think that has to do a lot. That's one of the more difficult parts of the development process. Is sometimes people become very attached to an idea or a theme behind it, and it doesn't happen. And there's good reasons behind it, right? But that's the most challenging part.
Same.
Yeah, or just not now, but maybe down the road, right?
Oh, soon.
And the scenarios were, we wanted an easy way to get into group quests, and there were a good way to do it, because we have a scenario finder, so, you can do it with 3 people that you don't, 2 other people that you don't know, and we wanted to keep the same casualness from a group quest also, so you don't have to have a definite role with your grouping of people, so that was kind of the thinking behind that. And they're still lore-based and story-based, so they're still part of. They have a quest feeling to them, so. You want to add anything, Carlos?
No, that was perfect.
Perfect.
We have not changed any of the scenarios yet. That's not to say that we won't potentially, based off of the feedback of what happens with the Fall of Theramore, because. Just with anything new that you release, there's always going to be iteration on it, and that's one of the things that our company's really good at. Is just putting it out there, something that we think is really good, getting the fan feedback, and then iterating on it to make it awesome. As far as the final list,
I'm not sure because we wrote some close to the end, so I'm not sure exactly what's the final list of scenarios.
Like, who's that guy? Yeah, I don't know. As far as the final list of scenarios, I don't know how many we decided to go out with at the very end, but there'll be more than one.
well, people like collecting them. So and we thought, what can we do to make that an interesting, thing to do? Because collecting them, there's degrees of, it's fun, but why not propagate that to everything, every pet that you can find in the world, and then putting that into, hey, what do I do with them now? Well, how about battling? So, and leveling them up, and taking care of them and as you go. So that was kind of the idea, and making a more casual thing that would be gravitating around our game. So if you're waiting in queue for a raid and you got 15 minutes, you can just trigger it, play a couple of matches with people you know.
Yeah, and I think the interesting part about it is that our designers are very free to think about awesome things, right? Like you remember like the Plants vs Zombies type of encounter that we did, just the Karazhan opera event, just various cool ideas, right? And this is another one of those. Like our designers are thinking, like, damn, wouldn't it be cool? We got all these really fun pets. Wouldn't it be cool to just battle them? Yeah. And that's the way it starts. Wouldn't it be cool to just battle them together? Okay, well, that sounds like a great idea. Well, let's run with it. How do you do it? Start thinking about the mechanics behind it, and just putting a lot more, artwork behind it and everything until you develop something fun. And it really just stems from, wouldn't it be cool if? Yeah, I think it'd be cool. Let's try it.
Yes, it's cool.
And we had a lot of fun with it in the office.
Oh yeah, it's just like Although it's not fun getting beat down by a rabbit sometimes.
No, yeah. The combo of rat and rabbit is never super awesome.
Well, I mean, for this one, it was really interesting because, when you talk about classes and roles for classes with the monk especially, we thought that, and a lot of this comes from what we feel the kit is going to be, what's appropriate to the kit as you start rolling it out. Like with the monk, we could have gone straight DPS, we could have gone tank, we could have gone healer, but we decided that because of the way it fits into the lore, we want to give people the option to do either, so that they can kind of customize their thing. Now, how that balances across,
raids and stuff like that is yet to be seen. So it's going to be really interesting for us to look and see what kind of an effect that specific class has in the balance of how raiding works. Anytime we release a class, like when we released the Death Knight back in the day, dude, that had a significant impact on the raid makeup and how people were like, oh, well, I want to use a DK, I want to use DKs, there's more DKs, and then as we started balancing them out, then DKs became less and less prevalent, or we added more to another specific class, then they became awesome. So it's just this constant, our designers are constantly balancing out classes, and it's a difficult thing to do. It's not simple, right? Because you have PvE, and then you have them in PvP. So how do you balance both in order to make it equal feeling, right? Because there's always going to be the people that are like, oh my god, you nerfed my class, or, this sucks, I don't like the way you play it anymore, or, why am I not awesome in PvP when, I'm awesome in PvE? So it's just a constant back and forth between all of them, and honestly, we're going to have to see how specifically the monk does, in raiding and in dungeons, and we'll tweak accordingly. I don't know, maybe. I mean, that's something. It's something that's up for discussion right now. I mean, we have three different modes, right? I mean, the idea was at the beginning was to make sure. I mean, already normal and heroic, a certain percentage of our people actually go and experience that content. So the next available was like, why don't we make it more available to the more casual players? So that's where looking for raid came in. To make another tier that's even harder than that, I don't know, man. I mean, how much harder would you want to make it?
We're doing it for dungeon this time around, though. With
Well, the challenge modes are a little bit different, right? It's like a different take. It's more of like the competitive,
It's a mode, right?
Let me, doing the Baron runs back in the day, right? I mean, it was just like, let's get it so I can get the cool war bear, the Armani war bear, right? You wanted to get that. So with the challenge modes, it's like competition. Like, yes. How quickly can I do it? And I'm going to get a cool mounts. I'm going to get titles. I'm going to get cool gear that that I'm going to be able to show off and be cool about. So that's kind of like a different offshoot of that. I wouldn't say that. It's the difficulty. It's going to be difficult, but it's not another heroic tier. I mean, I think heroics are pretty tough. I don't know. What would you? How much harder would you want to make it?
Well, I don't know.
Shit.
That's for me. It's for the player.
Or maybe somebody from Blood Legion or somebody's like, that's too easy, dude. Let's go with that.
When you explore Pandaria and you get to Valley of the Four Winds, like to me the most interesting area, physical area, because you start learning how Pandarian are living and their agriculture and sort of their roots, you know, like who they are, and it kind of explains a little bit more, kind of how long they've been there, or who are the common Pandarian. So it's kind of that. I think that's the most interesting zone, I guess, or area to explain, who they are.
Yeah, I also think that when you look at Jade Forest and what we're trying to get, we try to immerse you right away into what's happening with the world, right? So with Jade Forest, you're hit immediately with that conflict, right? So the Horde and the Alliance have landed on this continent, and they're causing a lot of problems. And now it's releasing the Shah energy, and there's corruption that's out there, right? So getting people immersed in that storyline and getting them to understand why they're there and what they're hoping to accomplish, that's where I feel it's important, and I feel like Jade Forest does that for us.
I do not know.
I don't know.
The thing I know is that they used to rule Pandaria as the main emperors, and the Pandarian were like a sub race to them, and there was a revolution of Pandarian. They became monks and they learned to fight with their hands, and their uprising put them into power. But I don't know if they were great. You could ask Chris.
That's a good idea. So you're talking more about like, okay, meet up, do this,
yes.
Put it up on your calendar, and only your guild can see it potentially. Okay, we'll have to take that.
Take a look at it.
That's a good idea. Being able to provide a different avenue for the sale of higher end items. It's something cool and different, right? It's not the traditional auction house, but just another way for you to be able to get cool and interesting stuff. It's another mechanic. And we'll see how successful it is. I don't know, what do you think? Do you think it'll be successful?
I think you got enough scope, but this is prohibitive price.
Well, I mean, a lot of players have a ton of gold. Over the years they've accumulated a lot of gold. And, might as well give them something to use it.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, cool. We think so. We'll see what everybody. We'll see how it plays out.
For me, it's okay.
So I have a question for you guys. Like, what are you guys most excited about for MOP?
The content. There is so much things to do, so much things to see. Red, challenge mode, new region, new reputation, which is really great. New stories.
There's a lot.
A lot of stuff
There's
to do.
a lot.
Maybe the same, but I play Panda. I want to play Panda.
And you
I
will.
I love.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it. I mean, I'm stoked about all of it, but I really want to try out the challenge modes. Like, I'm a big fan of competition, and being able to get 5 of your best friends in there, going, okay, let's do this.
Go.
Let's try to get that piece. And honestly, the sets that we're providing, all the gear that's there, is really cool looking, dude. I mean, there's some awesome stuff.
It looks pretty epic.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to get all those pieces to complete that, and it's gonna be freaking awesome. That's what excites me. But I mean, there's so much cool stuff. Like you said, playing through Panda. I'm gonna just become immersed in that world and understand get into the culture and like how pandas live, and your tillers faction stuff is pretty cool.
Yeah, we have the tillers, and where you kind of manage your own little farm. You're growing.
Yes.
So that's kind of fun. You're growing your own stuff. We haven't done that yet, so I think it's really cool. There's a lot of little things like that in the game that hopefully players will, really gravitate around. So.
And again, we want to just see how it plays out. Yeah. I'm excited to see how. I mean, we're introducing a lot of really interesting stuff, so it'd be really cool to see, just what the players think about it. I'm excited, so I hope they are.
Yeah, I am too.
Right on, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Merci.
Thank you.
Yeah.